Okay. Do we get an open Sicilian? No. Rossolimo. Yeah. I had yesterday an interesting discussion about that. That this position by now is just like the main variation. Do we need to take here? Guess with the knight here, I do. Is that this variation? I think now queen b6 might be the move. Yeah. This gains me a tempo. Also, yeah, no, in general, positionally desirable move. I guess with knight takes, I was also, but then I could just play knight c3. Well, now they need to move the bishop back. Do I directly play d5? Or go with the knight? d5 is not running away, except that they play c4, but I'm not sure about that. We will see. It's an option, but then this bishop looks a little bit sad. Yeah, we'll have just... They go for it, but I'm having amazing dark square control here. Can even go directly bishop c5, put some pressure here. Guess they have knight c3, knight a4. But I can drop my queen then maybe back. My bishop is still looking decently here. So knight c3, probably drop back. And that stops them of pushing with the f pawn. Yeah, so I drop back here. And knight a4. The knight is not amazingly placed on that square, I think. So next, yeah, for sure, castling. Bishop a6 sometimes will be on the cards. Though I guess then b3 and doesn't do that much. It's more, yeah. Do I go for d5 break at the right moment? So also, yeah, a move like rook b8 looks natural, but maybe also doesn't do that much right now. I have options of both of going for like a setup with e5 and d6, or the other way around with d6 and c5. That's two options to open up my bishop. I guess it depends how my opponent plays it. I think, yeah, it depends a lot, like what this knight does. If the knight goes to a4, then I maybe do bishop d4, next e5. Well, yeah, of course, if the knight goes here. Yeah, they're not sure. Yeah, there some ideas of king here, g3, f4, or with h pawn are viable for them. Oh, their blitz is very low. Yeah, they have very little games yet played. That's might be a newish account. Yeah, only 3 blitz games, so. Oh, the puzzle storm. That's strong. 53. I think that's way stronger than me. Yeah, only but I only did it like 10 times. And quite some time ago, I think. Yeah, okay. That's since 2021. Yeah, I think. Since then, I improved a lot with my speed skills. Maybe when I start to like plateau on Tactics Thursday, maybe we will try to do some Puzzle Storm, Racer or Streak. Not sure, like Racer and Storm, is that really any different? Since my peak is 36. They are taking a lot of time of this move. Not sure. Guess one of the things they could be deciding if do they want to trade this bishop. Then yeah, I guess this is the other. This is yeah, it's not. They need to decide a plan on this move. Like they can't really make just let's just make an improving move and we see then. That's they don't have the. I guess they have b3. That would be like delaying the decision for one move. I think b3 is quite often a decent move. It's still, of course, weakening the knight. Yeah, in that case, they would. I guess they need to be then at least happy to. And they wouldn't be forced to trade the dark square bishops with some like b3, bishop d4, bishop b2. Like I can put more pressure, but they can keep defending. But yeah, maybe b3, queen e5 maybe. Then knight f4 and a lot of pressure. So yeah, that's might be a good line to calculate. b3, queen e5. Since after moves like bishop d2, I guess after b3, queen e5, bishop b2, now they have like knight e4 moves. Like a double attack against my queen and my bishop. But maybe after b3, queen e5, bishop b2, and queen g5. Okay. That's like bringing the queen in the danger zone now. For sure, that let me think a second about castling. Think maybe e5 here. Since yeah, they might be thinking about playing e5 themselves. Can also use that square, of course, with the knight. And then the bishop is hanging. Yeah, knight e5, what's their follow-up? That's bishop f4. Bishop f4 is a follow-up then. Then maybe just d6. Guess they could go for something like 95, bishop f4, d6, queen g5. This pawn. Then g6, quite committal in that position. Okay. Yeah, so very reasonable for them to take time in this position. Maybe I go for this. Like I have knight f4, these. I have my e5, d6 to get my bishop out. Can also, yeah, d6 is of course a way less committal move. Maybe I go for that instead. Don't think I'm that afraid of e5. Maybe I go for d6. Don't see like what's their big next move. There's now also no h4, h5 business. Of course, yeah, I need to be aware about tactics related with bishop c6, but for the moment I still have f takes g6. And also, yeah, whenever they need to open this up, I can just take with an item. Yeah, I assume e5, bishop, knight takes e5, bishop takes h7. It's not good for them. That's, yeah, more based on a feeling than actual concrete lines. But yeah, it feels very strange. Yeah, also now knight e5, and they cannot reply with bishop f4. That's nice. Yeah, I guess the main downside is that my bishop now can throw back, but my bishop is very strong here, so not looking that much forward to do that. Knight a4, yeah, that's... I think I might just put it on d4. Knight is not doing anything here. Bishop can drop here if necessary. Yeah, bishop d2 feels a very slow follow-up. I think now knight e5. Guess the bishop will go to e2. And could be thinking about bishop a6. And probably b3. I guess knight e5, then there's always like this downside of queen here. Though after, and bishop a6. And there are some d5 threats. Since there's pins. But then my bishop is also loose. Of course, could you just go for castling, but then yeah, e5 happened then. That's not good. Oh yeah, not necessarily bad, but not happy to do that. So knight e5, bishop e2. What's then my next move? Maybe then I can castle. Problem is they're gonna play quite fast king h1 f4 and get some decent initiative. So what if I just play e5 instead? And develop and see from there. I think I might do that. Their bishop looks a little bit... doesn't do that much over there. Well, like, my similarly bad bishop is on a really nice diagonal. So next might be bishop e6. And then I slowly started thinking about just castling. Don't think I will ever think about castling long. That's, yeah. Feels like my king is too drafty over there. Okay. No bishop. I guess I can also just bishop e6 and go for d5. Nah, it doesn't. That just opens up their bishop and I don't gain that much of that. Queen b6 now attacks this pawn. They probably will just defend it. Don't really have a follow-up. Feel my bishop here. Feels a solid square. Guess the knight can go to f5. Yeah. Oh, b4. That's a very reasonable move, which I for sure underestimated. Yeah, since it was not. Yeah, probably was already for some time an idea of them, but I just completely didn't look at it. It might be that this allowing this and creating this square for the knight was quite okay, but they didn't want to go for that directly. I think after a4, I might be just playing a5. Feels like that pawn on a4 is more a weakness than a strength. If they go for, I guess they can go for b5. Yeah, b5 actually looks solid move. Like something b5, take. Nah. But at least then I can keep my bishop on this nice diagonal. They could then bring the knight back to d5. But at least my bishop then also is already looking at it. Their bishop's still quite bad. So likely next I finally gonna castle. Think. Although, yeah, there is like this idea. Yeah, I assume they will do something about this, right? Otherwise, I will just take here. Okay. Think I will recapture with a rook. Then just, yeah, I decently like, yeah, I prefer to keep this pawn as far as back as possible, and I prefer to do it with a rook. The queen also has here some like multiple precipices. Like also, for example, if the rook ever gets kicked, yeah, it would be with a knight, which is not. I guess the knight can go here, but then yeah, it doesn't necessarily needs to go back all the way. Well, I think if the queen would get kicked, it probably just goes back. So I can sort of win a half tempo by capturing with the rook or the queen. So now f4 is an option, although it is still tactically maybe a little bit suspicious. I have this move, which is interesting, but I think it's first time to castle. Of course, now I need to be like this, but yeah, there is the issues for now with that the rook is still, and that the rook is on the king. And I don't think there. I might just go here. Okay, the queen over there. Guess it just wants to join back the game. So f5 while an ID probably isn't working yet. It's not that I lose a piece, I think, because there's this pin, but yeah, it feels not really correct. It could be actually good for maybe even something like this. Take e4. Probably bishop takes. Could also go queen takes, but bishop takes. Now here. I guess they are not forced to capture in that line. You know, the bit knight. So the here and then in the end there, but yeah. I think my position is positionally not bad at all, so no need to go for crazy tactical variations. I need to, probably at some point I want to create a flight square, likely. I guess for the moment it's not that big an issue. Okay, there. Knight there is a decent defender, but I have rook c5 ideas. And now also knight f4 IDs. With what do I start? Knight f4. Knight f4 is not with like a punch, while rook c5 is with the tempo. So I'm thinking about starting with that, and then I could go knight f4 next move. I think that's quite uncomfortable to meet. Not sure, like I've now some Flemish music on. It's not, it's a combined playlist, like with some classics, but yeah, from a Flemish standpoint. So I guess after knight f4, the bishop couldn't drop back to f1. And there's not yet a breakthrough. I have there's also d5 option with a knight hanging. So d5, take, can take again. Yeah. I know the knight can take in the end probably. So d5, say take, also now the bishop is open. They have, yeah, this, and that's already complex. But they also just have a knight takes. So queen a5, I assume rook b1 is the move. But I don't see the continuation. Okay. Thinking maybe g6 f5 now. Assuming they go bishop f1. Although, yeah, I missed that they then might have g3. Although, I just go knight here. They don't really want to capture. Of course, yeah, maybe after f5. Then they play g3. Since now my bishop is no longer controlling that square. I do have then in between move here, which gets very tactical. And there's 94. Okay. It just, I guess, yeah, that's after this, this pawn is still not hanging. Take. Guess they are now sort of looking at rook b7. So that could be a reason to move the queen here. Rook here. Yeah, now there is some back rank stuff too. Maybe I go for g6. Since then after this here, then I can trade a pair of rooks. But that's good for me, I think. I think I have just better call. This rook, yeah, you could say is it well placed or not? Could for sure discuss about that. So now f5 was the idea, but yeah, the question is that actually a good move? So here, can then go with the second rook. I don't think I'm gonna rush with getting in f5, and also king g7. Since then whenever there's this possibility of this pin. Yeah, could get my queen over there. That's also very valid idea. Okay. Took maybe a little bit too much time there, but so are they gonna stop me with queen g3? Okay, they go with the knight there. Committal decision, I think. I think I probably need to take, but now their light squares are very weak. Yeah, okay. Don't think they have. I actually could maybe take on c4. And there are even some funny mating ideas. But I can still take on c4, that's still not defended. I guess, yeah. That's the way now the I'm not sure. What is the idea here? And yeah, so there is like, if this rook moves off the back rank after my queen is... so for example this, they could be thinking about rook b7. It's not with that big a threat, so maybe... But, okay. Rook here. There is a pin here. If 92. Or here. And then I have... Okay. Here. Gets a little bit tactical. Yeah, quite a bit tactical. Maybe this. And it gets tricky. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. G4. Oh wow, nice move. Yeah. That's really nice move. Here. Guess D5. They're just gonna... Yeah, clearly blundered here, but it might be not super clear. Not sure if I should have included this. Can now do it. Oh no, this was actually a blunder of them. Let's do this. I guess no, this pawn they can't capture. Do I do this? Is that a mate? Don't think it's a mate yet, but the fact that this pawn is defended is nice. It's defended by this trick. And this is resignable for them. Of course, with the time situation. Me having blundered earlier, again, they are completely valid to play on. Yeah, I think I trade here just. Might just. Of course, this is a solid move, but keeping the king. Yeah, let's just do the solid move. I'm 3 pawns up. No need to make it complicated. Okay, this one. Take some space. After f4, I'm gonna. Yes. Yeah, I also have always this check. So a move where they. Okay. Let's bring the king in. This shouldn't be too hard of a technical task. Just, yeah, keeping my king on dark squares is actually a good idea, since then there are never any forks. I think I of course now allow this square, but that's not an issue. Let's keep the bishop on a solid square. Yeah, pawns on dark square with my light square bishop is a good combination. Yeah, there is sign.